Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to our show. We have gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the multiverse, two of the nerdiest geeks to be found. We proudly present the professor and her geeky girlness herself, Ace. And now it's time. GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace.
Are you having problems, Professor?
Nope. Hey everybody, welcome to GeekyKOOL presents Professor and Ace. This is Season 2, Episode 13. We are excited to have our great guest with us, Josh Heston, of a couple different things. So we're going to talk about all the different things he's involved in, because there's a lot of cool stuff there, including State of the Ozark, Dark Ozarks Podcast, a festival coming up, a kill hero villain walk. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. So we're going to get into all of that. So welcome, Josh. We're glad you're here with us tonight.
Thank you very much. It's fun. I can't wait to jump in and get to visit about all this stuff, and appreciate you guys.
Well, you're very welcome. We're always glad to have you.
Yeah. Josh and I have been friends for quite a while. I don't even know how long. It's been a while.
2014, 2015.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, somewhere.
It's been a little bit, a few years.
Yes, it has. And a number of cosplay iterations for both of us.
Yes. That a lot of things for State of the Ozarks, because I remember meeting you and you were super excited about State of the Ozarks, but it was still kind of not new, but still in its developmental stage.
Very much so. I mean, to some degree, it's always a work in progress, but I started the online magazine in 2007, and then it was 9 years before we started the member community, which is, I think, about when you and I got to know each other.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about State of the Ozarks.
Well, first and foremost, State of the Ozarks is an online magazine dedicated to preserving and celebrating the Ozarks. Of course, we're based in Hollister, have been for a long time. We've got a fantastic logo. I love that logo so much. I didn't do it. I'm a graphic designer. I did not do the logo. Logo was created by Carson Van Hooser for Michaela, Carson's wife, created that logo in 2017 for our first festival. So that's the first part of my background is journalism and graphic design. And I started it because I was very passionate about the Ozarks. I'm originally from Illinois, moved down to the Branson area in 2011 officially, moved to Hollister, became a Hollister, Missouri resident officially in 2012, and then worked lots and lots of other jobs and have had everybody refer to State of the Ozarks as my hobby, which it never was. It was always my passion. It was always my purpose in life since I started in 2007. And then 2016, 2017, we began the member community, and life has been really, really crazy ever since then. I made the wonderful mistake of going to our new members. We started bringing members on board that I could advocate for, particularly artisans and small business owners in the community. I went to them and I said, I'm now your advocate in the community. What do we need? I'll see if I can make it happen. And the first thing that came out was, we need a festival. And I literally said, I have no idea how to do one of those, but sure, why not? And 1 week later, found myself in a meeting at Hollister City Hall with our administration
Which
team.
is awesome. The Hollister administration is awesome. Just throwing that out.
Oh my gosh, I'd give them 5 stars every single time. Just the willingness, the willingness to, and you don't always get this in communities, to gamble on somebody with a crazy idea. And that's what I did. I was actually sharing this story with Tim Church this morning, and I'm going to share it now. I sold the whole idea that we were doing an Ozark Arts and Crafts Fair, which we do. It is a genuine arts and crafts fair, a traditional arts and crafts fair. It is juried. It's handmade, homemade, handcrafted craftsmanship and artisans. It's not folks coming in from just wherever and bringing out a bunch of stuff. It's the real deal. But I'm a nerd. And so I started layering all these other things in. And I wrote about this in the weekly. Quick plug, if you go to StateoftheOzarks.net, first thing that happens on the homepage is it pops up with a pop-up to sign up for the weekly. The weekly's free. We do not share that information with anyone. And then you get State of the Ozarks in your inbox every Sunday at 5. And we write every single week. And so on last Sunday, I actually wrote about this. And in July, late July, early August, I was going through Facebook and I saw a promotion for the Feast of the Goblin King. And I went, wow, okay, I want goblins. And I messaged the Feast of the Goblin King. And I honestly didn't expect a response because I'm nobody. And they got right back with me that evening and said, what do you need? What's going on? What are the logistics? And as soon as I explained it to them, they're like, okay, we'll be there. It was Michelle Tongi and her team in Hartville. And then I put them on the vendor list, went on and am in an administration meeting the next week. And Dale, my publisher, had not looked at the list. Rick, our city administrator, just looked at the list that morning. And they're both at opposite ends of the boardroom table in City Hall. And Rick frowns a little bit and goes, you said this was going to be an arts and crafts fair. And I'm like, uh-huh. He went, Feast of the Goblin King.
It's art.
What's up? And I went, I have an idea. Please just trust me. And they did. And we went from there. And that first festival, very first festival, I'm estimating we had between 3,000 and 4,000 people in attendance, and 74 vendor booths, a lot of cosplay, and of course Feast of the Goblin King. So we had goblins running up and down the street.
Awesome.
And the goblins, the Feast of the Goblin King, Josh puts in the best position, which is at the very end of Downing Street. So how it's set up, just so everyone knows, Hollister's this small town right next to, they neighbor Branson. So if you're not from the area, it neighbors Branson, so you can come and stay in Branson or in Hollister. There is a hotel in Hollister as well, a couple. But you can stay, and there's even a hotel right on Downing Street. But Downing Street is this historical street where across from it is the historical railroad station. Now there's this great mural on the retaining wall for the railroad station. And the street has all these cute little kitschy flea markets and artist things. SMAC, which is Southwest Missouri Arts Council, is there. I think I got that one right. But they have their building there. Great artists. They have a historical hotel, which has an amazing restaurant. They have a Mexican restaurant as well. And they have Hook and Ladder, which is a fireman ran pizza place right on this little downtown traditional thing. And Josh takes over the street.
I do. I do. It is my street for the day. And we have so much fun with it.
So he has booths running down the side by the businesses. He has booths running down the side by the retaining wall on the railroad tracks. And then he has booths going down the middle. And the Feast of the Goblin King is always at the very end, depending on which way you start. It's either the first thing you see or the last thing you see before you turn around and head back. But it's just amazing. When you think of, those traditional arts and crafts festivals from like the 50s and the 60s where all the community comes out and they all support each other, that's exactly what this is.
It is. And I love, there's several things going on with the festival. I love just bringing diverse groups of people together. I love celebrating the Ozarks and all that the Ozarks have to offer. And I love celebrating nerd culture. So we put all of those three things together. Conservative estimates based off of attendance from last year, we should see 5,000 plus people at the event. I'm being very conservative on that. And we're already over 70 booths booked, and we're still a month out. So I think we're going to have a very good day. It is a one-day festival, and I'm thrilled to have Geeky KOOL and AJ Ace involved.
We're thrilled to be involved, so we do appreciate that.
And Josh and I have talked about doing something together for State of the Ozarks Fest. Viewers know that I have a job outside of Geeky KOOL, and I write for a newspaper, and I've been covering Hollister as part of my beat until last year when Chris Carlson came in, and Chris is now covering Hollister, which means I can get involved a little bit more with some things going around in Hollister without having a conflict. So September 16th, Saturday, historical Downing Street, Hollister, Missouri, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is the State of the Ozarks Fest 2023. I'm just super excited about this, Josh.
I am too. I'm super excited to get to work with you guys.
He came to me like, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 years ago and said, how can I get more cosplayers at this event?
Yes.
Because he does have several, and besides the goblins, he has all kinds of really fun activities and groups there. You have the Red Boars.
Yes, so the anchors, so to speak, of the festival on the south end of Downing Street is Feast of the Goblin King. On the north end of Downing Street is the Order of the Red Boar. The order is a 15th century medieval combat group, and they bring their own stockade. It's massive. It stretches pretty much the length of Hook and Ladder Pizza.
Yeah.
And twice during the day, they will go in and have full-on fights. They are not choreographed fights. They don't bounce around and tap their swords together. And they have real armor, real padding, and real weapons. And so it's a brawl, basically.
Yes.
And the heralds for the Red Boar will always announce all of that. But I had this amazing experience. This was 2019 when this happened. We had everything set up, and the heralds announced that the combat is real, that it's not staged, all of these things, and everyone is just attentively watching. And one of the knights takes one heck of a sword hit on the side of his helmet, and then they call the match. And the pages run out, and they pull this guy's helmet off, and he has blood streaming down the side of his face. And I'm standing up on the railroad tracks next to the depot. And the acoustics are great up there, and you literally hear every person in attendance gasp. It just is this wave. And the herald looks at everybody and yells as loud as he can, "I told you it was real."
Right.
And my publisher and our insurance guy was standing next to each other on the other side, and I find out later that he leans over and goes, "They do have their own insurance, right?" And Dale's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, good."
That's important. That is very important. Well, that's really cool. I did not know that they would be there. That's
they're
cool.
They're there. There's 2 stages that are set basically into the retaining wall area between Downing Street and the railroad track. There's that area, and there are 2 stages, and Josh has entertainment planned. Every year there's all kinds of, and it rotates different entertainment. Last year, the year before, I don't know if they're back, but he has the dance team, local dance team.
I believe Premier Dance is scheduled to come back. I believe Kira is going to be there. So we do try to have an anime presence as well, schedule permitting. Luke Acker typically is the MC and the main guy handling stuff up on the north stage. And Luke is a great vocalist and guitar player. He's from Ozark. He does a lot of folk music. He also does a lot of pop covers. I always tease him because anytime he goes, what do you want to hear, Josh? I go, Rihanna. And and he rolls with it. So my dog's barking.
Sky's barking.
Yes, he does this when I'm on podcast. And then Luke is such a trooper. He also comes in cosplay. And his two favorites, he always gives me the choice. Do you want Zach Galifianakis or do you want Bob Ross? And I'm always like, the world needs more Bob Ross. Please come as Bob Ross. So when you see Bob Ross, he's got the hair, he's got the shirt, he's got the easel and the brush, and he goes around and pretends to paint people. And then
cosplay as Bob Ross too. More people need to cosplay as Bob Ross. He's just amazing.
He is. And then Luke also does a lot of the heavy lifting on that limestone stage. And we also got Brother Troy scheduled up there, the Tom Lovato band, and Brad Williams is scheduled in the afternoon for the Mid-Street Limestone stage, which is going to be right next to you guys.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. All of that entertainment, dance squads and real fighting and the Goblin King, State of the Ozarks and Smack work together a lot. Like they are working together a lot, and Smack is going to have a booth set up with live painting. So people will be painting and doing art where everybody can watch them it's usually right across from their building. So I feel like that's probably where it's going to be again.
Yes, it is.
But Josh has us set up. We're going to be there for, Josh came to me and was like, how can we get more cosplayers involved? And in 2014, 2015, and 16, VisionCon, which is like the largest convention in the area, the oldest running comic convention in our area, was in Branson instead of Springfield. They have now since moved to their Sky. Look at Sky. Sky's like, I want in on this. But isn't it cute? But during that, speaking of Sky, Skylar, and my husband Shmoo and a bunch of other people put together a villain walk, and they walked like down the Branson Landing during VisionCon. And since then, Skylar passed away.
Yes.
And I was like, why can't we just do a hero villain walk? Like, have heroes start at one end, have villains start at the other, and then meet in the middle. They can do some glare, they can do some smack talk, make it kid friendly. It's a kid friendly event. But and if we have a little Batman who wants to like beat up the Riddler or like throw something at that'll happen. And so I was like, we'll do a hero villain walk, and that's kind of like what we settled on. I think it'll be super fun. This is from the first hero or villain walk, and this is like right before the villain walk. They did this little promo shoot and everything. But Skylar's back there. He was Lex Luthor. He's the one who started it, and it was his idea. And of course, my husband's there as the Riddler, and Eddie's there as the Joker and stuff. So we're inviting like everybody out. Anybody who wants to come, even if you've never been in cosplay before, that's fine. Put on something and dress up and have fun. And this is the cool thing. That's going to, be just one little part of this whole festival, but bring your kids out. If your kids want to be Superman for the day, give them a cape. Put on some little glasses, have him come out, and you don't know what kind of villain he's going to see and stuff. But Josh has graciously given Geeky KOOL and the Geeky Girlness a booth right next to center stage. And that booth is going to be for cosplay check-in. And any adult cosplayer who checks in with us, who says, hey, I'm here, they don't have to be part of the hero villain walk, although we will encourage that because I think it'll be a lot of fun. They'll get a ticket, and they'll enter to win an original art piece that Dakota, my son, Friendly Fire Photography, and that he does amazing art pieces, and he's going to do an original piece, one of a kind, just for this event, that we will give away. And then for anybody who has kids, I'm going to have little gift bags for every kid cosplayer that comes up. So I don't care if they're like in a towel around their neck and that's their superhero. They're going to get, because hey, that's how I started cosplaying. I don't know about you guys, but.
Me too. Captain Marvel, a.k.a. Shazam, with a clothespin around with my towel.
Yes.
I even worked at kindergarten. Got a reputation at that point.
Okay.
My first cosplay, thinking back on it, my first cosplay, I was 5 years old. My sister had just brought her boyfriend over to the house for the first time.
Oh, God.
And as a 5-year-old, I decided I was going to see if I could entertain and or embarrass him or make him laugh. And so what I did was, I got a white dish towel. I put it over my head. I put my sunglasses on, and I just walked around everyone without saying anything.
Your towel.
That was my beginning.
I love that, and that's kind of what I want to bring to this is that yes, we're going to have people who are in costumes that they have developed and done for years. Like my husband's going to be the Riddler. He's known as the Riddler. He's been doing it for 20 plus years. But like I invited my grandkids out and I was like, you guys can just come. And what's great about it is the timing. It's Halloween costumes will be out.
Yes.
Right.
So, you know how you spend so much money on your Halloween costumes for your kids and they wear it one day? So you buy it a little early and you have them wear it here as well as for Halloween. So
yeah, I
think it'll be fun.
It sounds like a ton of fun. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I love about the vision that I think we're very much in alignment for is this is not about tons of rules. This is about guidelines just for like structure and safety, that sort of thing. And it's about bringing people together. It's about bringing family together. And then on top of that, a huge part of my goal is bringing diverse groups of people that would not otherwise get to be exposed to each other together. And it is always an interesting balance. Oftentimes, as editor-in-chief, I get to go to visit just the woodworkers or just the fine artists. The first time I went to VisionCon, I was blown away because I was suddenly surrounded by cosplay. But you don't get to go to other large public events and be exposed to cosplay. And so This is about creating that environment where, first of all, I can't stress enough how important it is for people to know it is cosplay friendly. It is designed that way.
Right.
We want you to be a part of that. And AJ, you and I can coordinate. The depot has rooms that folks can change into their cosplay in.
Nice.
So, our goal is to just create the most welcoming environment possible, where people can feel very comfortable being in cosplay, out of cosplay. And is also, I consider cosplay to be one of the most important emergent art forms in the Ozarks. And so as a consequence of this, I want to expose people who've not been around it before.
Yeah. I agree. And a lot of people don't think of cosplay as art, but it yes, it starts out when you're a child as costume play. That's the whole put together of words that is cosplay. It's costume play. But a lot of people spend years developing their costumes, hand making things, props that are crazy good, that are custom made by them with foam and PVC pipe and all kinds of things. So Sky's like, I'm the star of the show.
Yeah, I know. This is why he gets locked in the bathroom for Dark Ozarks. I probably should have done it this evening too. But it is a truly emergent art form, and I don't think it gets enough credit. And it's one of the reasons that I just, in terms of being able to talk about it, my call for cosplayers, yes, it is really cool at the festival. We have lots of cosplayers there, but I don't think everybody always realizes that their participation is a cultural contribution.
Right.
It is an important cultural contribution, just like the traditional craftsmanship, the traditional artisan crafters, just like the fine artist. It is a really, really important part of that. And this is an opportunity to both give back to that culture by letting other people see it. One of the things that we see with great cons is that nearly everybody there is already familiar with cosplay. The thing that I love with State of the Ozarks Fest is it's one day in which lots of people who are coming into the space they're coming for very, extremely varied reasons. And so you will find a lot of people who are not familiar with cosplay. And that is how we perpetuate the art.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Get it visible, get it in front of people, allow people to ask questions about it.
Yes.
And that's what's great also about having our booth set up, because sometimes you don't know how to approach somebody in a costume and ask them about it. But if you have questions, we'll have a booth there, and you can come up and ask us. And that's kind of what we're there for, is to help bridge this gap and bring these two great art forms and places together. You and Larry are very similar, and I told Larry this when I was talking to him about it. Larry's all about collaboration and contributors, and he wants all the nerdy, geeky voices to be heard. And you're the very same way. And so I just think that putting GeekyKOOL and State of the Ozarks together to bring cosplay and that nerdy, geeky feel.
I love it. I love it.
Without overwhelming. And it's not all about the cosplayers. It's not all about the hero villain walk, but they can come and watch the heroes and villains face off, but they can then stay and watch, fine artisans paint, or talk to wood craftsmen or potters. And you also have history. You talk about the history. So they always have a history exhibit that Dale usually is up by there somewhere.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So many different things happening at once. You hush. He's cosplaying as Chewbacca.
Nice.
And as you mentioned, the hero villain walk, we'll start at 12:45. I think that's what we planned.
Yeah.
Heroes at one end of the street, villains at the other. March down, meet in the middle by 1 p.m. for all the photos. Yeah. And super excited. I'm excited to participate. I'm going to make sure I do a minimum of three cosplays during the festival.
Yep.
Wow.
We've got the Chieftain, technically 4, which is Farmer Josh, which is me in my overalls and my State of the Ozarks shirt. That's how I know. That's also at the farmer's market and around the house. But there's funny story. Way back at the very beginning, I got, of course, my title is editor-in-chief. And I got some fantastic advice from a good friend who has run large Civil War reenactment events, which a lot of moving parts on those. And it's funny because Brent is so soft-spoken and he is so sweet. And he looked at me, he sat me down with a cup of coffee, and he said, I know what you're going for. This is the first year. I know what you're going for, but here's what you got to know. Once the festival hits go, you are God. You are the voice in charge. And what you say goes, because you cannot have multiple people making decisions.
Right.
It has to be you. And my brain, just started percolating on that. And so like a week later, it had percolated for a while, and then it spit this out in the middle of a meeting, and everyone was like, wait, what? And I said, well, I know what my title is for the festival. It's only for the day. And it's my mantle that I will wear just for the day. And they're like, what? And I said, my title is Editor-in-Chief, and I am God, and you are all my subjects. And they were like, wait, what? So the cosplay for Editor-in-Chief, and I am God, and you're all my subjects is bowler hat, Jacobite shirt, kilt, and steampunk sunglasses.
Nice.
So that's cosplay number 2. Cosplay number 3 is my favorite, which is Crununos, Celtic god of the forest. That's what I'm going to make sure that I'm ready for by 12:45. And Crununos is all black, all in black, has a forest green cape and antlers. And his long-standing representation in Celtic mythology, my favorite cosplay. And I just don't know. I'm going to let you guys decide for that moment, because Crununos represents duality. So I'll let you guys decide for that moment. I'm totally fine either way. Is he a hero or is he a villain? It's entirely up to you guys. I'm putting that on you. I have no idea.
Here's my suggestion.
Yes.
Walk down the street as one, and when you get there, flip to the other side.
I love it. That's
actually good.
Yeah, that is a great idea.
This
and then
duality. I'm here. Okay.
Yeah.
Flipping sides.
Other side. Yeah, and then the cosplay that I typically do toward the end of the day is a full-on plague doctor.
I love your plague doctor.
I do too. He is a lot of fun. Since it's funny, of course, with the mask, it's very limited visibility, as you guys can imagine.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And as soon as that visibility, as soon as I put the cowl on and minimize my visibility, my entire body language changes. And I have walked up next to people who know me really well, and they have no clue that it's me, and I love it.
That's
you've taken on the role completely there.
Yes.
You've immersed yourself. So in acting, that's a sign of a great actor when you can be so immersed people don't even know who you are.
It's so much fun.
It's one of the fun things about cosplay, because remember when you were a kid, and we all just talked about this, you go into the bathroom and you find the biggest towel you can find, and you put it around your neck, and you either put it with a clothespin or you tie it, whatever, and somehow you then just become superhero, and your whole confidence changes, and that's what cosplay allows you to do. I want families. I really want whole families in cosplay walking down together, and just having fun. I want little kids going up against the Riddler and being like, I will defeat you, that sort of thing. I just think it's amazing. Where they're going to meet, we're hoping will be close to the stage, the mid stage, right next to our booth. So we'll be able to get some photos of, the glares and just that whole smackdown talk, but without being too much, but smackdown talk, or we'll get you and that sort of thing. I just think it's going to be an amazing callback to childhood for people. Yes. And it might be somebody's first experience with cosplay. And listen, I have been a cosplay judge before at conventions. I've been doing cosplay for a really long time. I have made cosplays for other people, made props for them. But that's not what this is about. This is not a cosplay contest, although we talked about having one. Yes. But this year, is just about bringing as many people out and giving them the opportunity to live out their childhood fantasies of being a hero or a villain and walk down the street and like face off against Batman or face off against I don't know, Spider-Man is my favorite, but you know, Larry and I both are like Spider-Man fans.
We are.
Right.
Sorry, my allergies.
And it does. It brings people together, and it also moves people, the attendees who are not in cosplay, it moves them into a different and I think a more receptive headspace.
Right. Yeah, everyone, I don't know of anyone going back to like my grandmother, you know, because she was raised in the era of radio instead of TV when she was younger. And I remember her talking about like sitting around and listening to the Shadow, you know, the Shadow knows and stuff. Yeah. So, and you know that the kids then who listened to that and then my mom was, you know, like the Lone Ranger and all of that kind of thing. You know, they went and played their favorite characters, and then comic books came and changed everything for a lot of people. But we're not eliminating this to just comic book. I don't want people to think that. If you want to be an anime character, be an anime character. If you want to be, you know, just like a cartoon character who's not a comic book, be that. It's going to be open up for pretty much anything. And if you or your character identify as either a hero or a villain, or you just want to walk alongside of them, even if you don't know exactly where you fit, that's okay too.
It is. And if you want to create your own cosplay from a mythology, you know, it's all about the art, and it's all about people coming together at any level. And I love that combination. And like you mentioned, it can be just kids trying out their Halloween costumes in the daylight for, you know, before Halloween.
Yep. That's the beginning of cosplay. Is kids playing. It
is.
I know we just don't want to grow up. It's fine. I don't want to grow up.
I wouldn't want to grow up. That's horrible.
No, I don't like I don't like adulting. I would rather be a kid any day of the week. Like,
you know, as a teen, I always thought it would be really cool to be an adult, and then I decided I wanted to go back and be a teen again. Like, all right, I'm done with this.
No one ever listens when they're a teenager. No one ever listens when you tell them no.
That's part of being a teen, is you don't listen to anything, right? Because that's what my 14-year-old does.
Very true.
Well, Josh, I'm curious, what brought you from Illinois to the Ozarks?
To the Ozarks. It was a complex series of things. The first that I was less aware of was my maternal ancestry is Pennsylvania Dutch and Welsh/Irish, and by way of the Midwest. And growing up, I always knew that my maternal ancestors had their own culture. They had their own dialect, they had their own culture, they had their own way of life. And I grew up in Central Illinois because my dad worked for Caterpillar, and I was very much we had the way we talked at home, we had the food that we ate at home, we had the music we listened to at home, all of those things. We had the ways that we did things at home. And then I learned at a very young age that when you go out to school or go out into the real world, you talk a different way and you act a different way.
Yes.
And that is not dissimilar, I think, to, for example, Irish families, being homogenized into Great Britain.
Right.
And or Welsh families not being able to speak Welsh, or they would be made fun of as backwards rural people if they spoke their native language or spoke with a dialect. that sort of thing. So I grew up just innately aware of that. And then in 1998, the very end of 1998, my grandmother passed from cancer, and my parents and I came down to Branson for the first time on it was technically a vacation to get away after the funeral and everything, but it was really just more logistics. Like, let's go someplace. At the time, it was just logistics. Let's go someplace that we've not really been to before. I'd been through the Ozarks. I'd not been to the Ozarks. And let's go someplace we've not been before, but it needs to be fairly close and when, driving time and so on and so forth.
Right.
And showed up, and I was blown away because so much of my maternal ancestors' culture was still alive. And this literally was the culture that I felt had died with my grandmother like 3 weeks prior. And to me, that was very significant. It was very profound. And I went home. I was 20 years old, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, but I wanted to be somehow associated with the Ozarks. Then I went to school for graphic design. And so bits and pieces came together. In 2006, I was doing research and building what actually was a prototype online magazine for State of the Ozarks. I just didn't know it at the time. It was called MidwestIrish.com, and I interviewed Greg Bailey, who's a fiddle player out at Silver City at the Homestead, and he told me about his fiddle teacher, Bob Walsh. Bob was the game warden in Stone County, and his fiddle is on display at Jefferson City, and Bob was instrumental in getting the fiddle named the official state instrument of Missouri. And he said Bob always thought that the Ozarks Plateau in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri was its own unique space, and in order to share that with people, he always called it the State of the Ozarks. And I wrote that in the first week of May in 2006 for the article, and a light bulb went on over my head, and I said, okay, that's my project. I don't know where this is going, but it feels big. We're going to roll with it. And a little over a year later, I rolled out the first version of State of the Ozarks in September 17th of 2007. We had the first festival 10 years to the day after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. And you're correct. Like, I am a unique person in this area because my family's been here for almost 300 years.
Yes.
Between my mom's side in Taney County and my dad's side in Stone County. And, I always tell everybody I have like the weirdest growing up thing because my family are Irish travelers. Like, my ancestry is Irish travelers. So Irish, what you would have called gypsies, but, that's a slur. And Irish travelers, and then they came, I have Cherokee Indian in me and Chippewa, because they came from Tennessee to this area, and they married, one of them married Cherokee, one married a Chippewa. So I have that. And then, I was raised in a semi-practicing Mormon household as well. So I have like a very unique history, but I feel like when I tell people I'm a local and they're like, well, yeah, like, how long have you been here? And I'm like, no, I'm like an original local.
Yes.
Before the town of Branson was established, my family was here.
Yes.
And so by saying that, I know this history, and the history that I know is not necessarily the history that everyone else is told, but it's like stories that have been handed down. And Josh, I completely understand where you're coming from with, like, we talked a certain way and we did certain things at home that you couldn't do out in public because people didn't understand it.
No. It almost its own language in some cases, and definitely its own dialect. And I want to, so we had a pond full of catfish. Okay. And one of my favorite things, of course, was we would fish for catfish. And in the early spring and the fall, if you got a large catfish, she might have eggs. And fried catfish eggs was like this huge treat for me and my sister.
Caviar. My grandma used to say river caviar.
Mm-hmm. And I made the mistake of sharing that one Friday at school for show and tell that the catfish I had caught the day before had eggs, and we fried them. And I remember there was like all these poor little children were like turning green, and this one little girl like raised her hand and she said, "Well, couldn't you just put the eggs back in the water and have them hatch?" And I participated in the butchering process for the fish. This is a 20-pound catfish, and I'm like, as a 6-year-old, I'm processing the information of how do I explain how much that's not going to work, and I just went, no, doesn't work. I'm sorry. And I'd have friends from school come over and try to convince them to eat the stuff that I was eating out of the timber, the black cherries, the wild plums, the wild strawberries, and they were looking at me like, "Oh my gosh, you are going to officially poison me." Right. And I'm going, no, this is good. This is like, I waited all year for this to come into harvest in the season. Right. And they're like, no, just stay back. Like, okay, well, more wild plums for me.
It was a big thing driving down the road, and if my grandmother spotted poke greens on the side of the road, we would pull over and we would pick poke greens, and she would have poke greens for dinner. And I never really liked the taste of poke greens. They're a little bit bitter for my taste, or when I was a kid. But like when I remember saying stuff like that, Josh, like, yeah, we had to pull over to get poke greens. And my husband, when I got married, I was driving and we saw a patch of poke greens, and I was like, oh my gosh, that just reminds me of pulling over and getting poke greens. And he's like, I don't even know what that means. And he's from the country. Like, he's from Jonesboro area, down there in Arkansas. Yeah. So he's from the Ozarks area. But it was just that different of that Irish, like my grandmother was Irish, and it was that poke greens are something that they do. And so I had to look up poke greens and tell him, no, it's an actual thing, and then you can eat it, and it's fine. It's fine.
It's all good. Yeah.
It's all good. Oh.
And I do believe, and I may be biased on this, but I do believe that certain aspects of our Celtic ancestry do cause us to hang on to these things. And it's very survival oriented, but it's very always with a looking over your shoulder, not in fear, but in watching the past behind you. And I'm always feeling that. I always feel like I'm not very far from my mother and my grandmother. Both have passed at this point, but it never feels like my ancestors are that far away.
Right, which is awesome. And you love history. I wanted to touch base before we talked about State of the Ozarks and the history of it and the festival, and then how we're collaborating with the Hero and Villain Walk, or Villain and Hero Walk. I had to put Villain and Hero Walk because it started as the Villain Walk, so I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not dissing the heroes, although I'm married to a villain, so it's fine.
You've always liked the bad boys.
I do. No, I'm more anti-hero. Like, I don't want them to actually be bad. I just want them to do bad things. It's fine.
You just want them to be drawn that way.
Just drawn that. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way. But you also have teamed up, and this is blown up with you guys, for Dark Ozarks. Now, can you tell us a little bit about Dark Ozarks, which is your podcast?
Yes. So you can follow Dark Ozarks on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google, Apple, pretty much wherever. And very excited about this. I actually probably went for a year hosting a podcast. I didn't realize I was hosting a podcast. And what happened, turning back to 2016, we really just started bringing members on board and then looking at ways that we could partner and work together with those members. And one of the very first members who came on board was Lisa Martin with Paranormal Science Lab in Joplin, Missouri. And Lisa's a very long-time paranormal investigator. She's also a full-time attorney. And Lisa and I met while I was on a story. I was researching for the Billy Cook story. And Billy Cook is our spree serial killer of Route 66. And he murdered a number of people along Route 66, but he was from Joplin. He was a very troubled man. And this occurred in the very late 50s. What they say is that, and Billy also inspired, if you can use that word, the film The Hitchhiker, which is a standout noir black and white film, also notable for having a standout female director in the 50s. And so The Hitchhiker, well worth your time to look up. And many of the concepts and elements of The Hitchhiker.
Larry's like, yes. Larry loves noir. So, like, you said Hitchhiker, and he's like, yes.
I'm like, yeah, I know Hitchhiker. Yep, that's good.
And a lot of the scenes that are in The Hitchhiker were lifted from the newspaper, from the case of Billy Cook. So Billy is interred in Peace Church Cemetery, off Peace Church Cemetery Road, or Peace Church Road, just off of Schifferdecker, which is well known in Joplin, in a rural cemetery just off of Schifferdecker. And Curtis Copeland, who I work with a lot with the Society of Hillcrofters, Curtis pointed me on this story. He said, I really think there's something there. And I said, okay. So in October of 2016, Dale and I drove to and found Peace Church Cemetery. And I found Lisa in the cemetery. That's the
of course you did.
Yeah. That's how I got to know Lisa.
So she's undead, is what you're saying.
Yes. Lisa,
okay. Just wanted to clarify.
Lisa was being interviewed because of her paranormal science lab work. Lisa was being interviewed by the local Joplin TV station in the cemetery for a Halloween episode. And we happened to be there at the same time, met, exchanged numbers. And then I interviewed her for the story because she's done a lot of research on Billy Cook. Billy is buried in the cemetery, but in an unmarked grave. And so there's a lot of mystery surrounding all of that. And the story's online at State of the Ozarks. And then anytime I had something strange to discuss, I'd always message Lisa and say, hey, what do you think about this? That progressed to Lisa inviting me along for paranormal investigations. We investigated it and have investigated the Old English Inn multiple times. It's very haunted. And then
so you know, anybody who's not familiar, Old English Inn is the hotel that is on Downing Street in Hollis.
Yes. Beautiful. It's constructed to appear as an Old English hunting lodge in the Tudor era. And the large entrance part was built in 1913, and the 3-story portion was completed in 1927. So it's been there a long time, has a lot of history. I'm pretty sure the attic, which had a lot of activity in it, was used as an unmentioned speakeasy during Prohibition.
I mean, I've heard stories, family stories.
We need to talk. We've needed to talk for a long time on all this. So, picked up a lot of pieces with that. And then in 2019, Lisa and I began discussing the concept of, actually we were discussing it as a reality TV show called Dark Ozarks. And we had done a lot of teaser trailer filming and created a PDF lookbook and the whole bit for a colleague of Lisa's who's a showrunner to shop around. We got all of that done literally on March 17th of 2020 and sent everything out. We got one conference call from folks on the East Coast that said, what you're doing looks really interesting. We are not going to be available for comment until lockdown is over. So in the meantime, develop a social media audience. Go have fun. And so during the 6 weeks of lockdown here in Missouri, Lisa and I went live 3 times a week, chose a different supernatural, paranormal, noir topic each day, and we'd just talk until we'd run out of stuff, which is what we're doing right now. We just visit about it. And I didn't even have a tripod the first time, so I did multiple episodes for an hour and a half holding my phone.
First episodes of these, I'm literally holding my phone. Yeah.
100%. You're like, okay, we're just going to roll with this. And Lisa and I both have a lot of tenacity And so we just never quit. Lockdown concluded. We didn't quit. We pared it down from Monday, Wednesday, Friday down just to Wednesday. It's still Wednesday in the 7 o'clock hour that we go live on Facebook. And we've done, I think the first year we took Christmas week off. This following 2 years, we've never bothered to take any weeks off. And we run every single week. And then after lockdown and after COVID and after 2020 and after all that stuff, then we were able to go back to live events as well. And so we host a number of live events. For example, this Saturday, we will be hosting a paranormal investigation history tour of the historic Ball Mansion, B-A-L-L Mansion by George Ball. Was built about 1900 in Webb City. Last Saturday, we did a paranormal investigation and tour of the Webb City Library, which was built in 1914. Is one of the remaining Carnegie libraries. It's there in Webb City. And we get a lot of people, but we were talking about vampires in the Ozarks last night. I know that episode is on everywhere now. And we just turned over 119,000 followers on Facebook.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's very surreal because I'm really not doing anything different than I did when we started. It's just I sit in this chair and Lisa and I talk about the stuff that we love to talk about. And we just do it, a lot of it. And it really caught on. And then when Facebook started giving us notices and saying like, you're an influencer, I'm like, wait, what? That was weird. And it has gotten to the point, I mean,
we haven't got there.
So social media is its own creation. I mean, its own thing. But we are getting to the point, at times when I'm in Springfield or Lisa's out and about in Joplin, et cetera, that we both get recognized. And that's incredible. I never expected anything like that to actually happen.
That's awesome. And I mean, I've taken one of you guys' ghost tours. I did the haunted one down on Downing Street, at the Old English Inn. And so I've done that. It was a lot of fun, a lot of information. And what was great is it's not just a paranormal experience. When Josh comes in, you can tell Lisa's she's obsessed with the paranormal part. Like, that's her passion. You could feel it coming off her. And his is the history behind things. And so they bring this really great matchup. You guys are a really good team. So I think that if anybody would like to check out Dark Ozarks, please go to it if you haven't. And then also when you're there, if they have an event coming up that you're interested in, sign up for it because it's worth it. It's a lot of fun.
They really are, and it sounds very counterintuitive. This guy's being a problem.
That's okay.
He's moving just out of reach, barking at me.
He heard my voice, and he misses me.
He does. I need to bring him by the newspaper. Stop. We've got what I would classify as bringing the normalizing the paranormal is really what it's about. And we debunk a lot of things, and we really help people, I think in many cases, not be afraid. It's fun. It's fun that some things are spooky, and that is spooky is part of it. I get that, but in so many cases, paranormal incidences are extremely normal. Cover them up in my Lord of the Rings blanket. Paranormal.
There can only be one.
This is why he gets locked in the bathroom. Paranormal experiences are extremely normal, and there are so many cases that they can be interesting. They can be comforting in some situations. We're not about freaking people out or getting them really scared.
Yeah, no.
So I have a couple questions on that. So, because I've not had an opportunity to listen. I just recently found out about this, which I find fascinating because I'm also fascinated with the history and the paranormal part. I'm always like, oh, is that true? Is that something to that? Firstly, tell me about the vampires, because I've not heard of vampires in the Ozarks. I've heard of Bigfoot. I've heard of all sorts of things in the Ozarks. Vampires is not one I've heard.
I've seen Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I know you have.
Yeah. And so about vampires, there's a couple of different things. One, way over in the Francois Mountains, St. Francois Mountains, and over by Farmington, there is a bit of lore that, interestingly enough, a Hungarian miner around 1900 was actually killed because he was believed to be a vampire.
Yeah.
And he was associated with a number of children falling ill and dying. And he was apparently buried in a cemetery over there. I think Perkins, Missouri. Don't quote me on that. And and so that is a bit of documented what I'd classify as rural legend or rural lore. Mm-hmm. And then the other, which is actually a lot more substantive, is the long-standing vampire cult that meet in the Jordan Creek tunnels in Springfield.
Really? I'm in Springfield, so I didn't know that there were a vampire cult in the tunnels. I know the tunnels. I didn't know there was a cult. So,
Funny story. Everyone knows, or anyone who knows me knows I'm an ordained minister, so I perform wedding ceremonies, but I perform like the weird ones, and like if you want me to dress in an Ewok suit and marry you, I will do that. One of my very first weddings, I got a phone call, and this lady was like, "Listen, I've called everyone else and they won't perform the ceremony," and I'm like, "Okay, well, and this sounds terrible, but I'm like, if you pay me, I'll perform the ceremony." It's whatever. It's not about me. It's about you. But she's like, well, before you agree to it, let me tell you, we are, we identify as vampires. We're vampires. We are a vampire family. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, so we want to get married on Halloween in a cemetery. It was a family cemetery, so it wasn't like, it was privately owned cemetery. And everyone who's going to be there, it's going to be at midnight, and everyone who's going to be there is part of our vampire family. And so I did agree to do it. However, I was like, listen, to each their own, whatever. As long as you're not hurting anyone, I don't care. I was like, however, it's a little like uncomfortable for me because, I'm female and I don't know you. So I'm going to I'm going to want to have 2 bodyguards that I hire to come with me, and you're going to pay for them. And she's like, okay. So I performed a vampire wedding in this little cemetery. It had 4 headstones on a farm up between the Republic and Springfield. And it was like one of the little farm roads that go off on a farm with like 20 people. And instead of exchanging rings, they exchanged blood. And then after they were married, they said, let the feast begin. And I left. I don't know what the feast was. So, true story, I have performed a vampire wedding.
I love that.
The flower girl was not just the flower girl.
Listen, they were all adults. I did notice that they were all adults who were there. There were no children there. It was at midnight, so maybe the kids were asleep. And like I said, I am not the person who judges people. I just wanted to make sure I was safe. But that was one of my very first. And after that, people got wind that I do. Like, if you have a crazy idea for a wedding, I'm the person to call to officiate because I'm like cool with it. So, but I did have 2 people come with me, 2 guys come with me that are friends of mine, and they were with me and stood up beside me and then walked me to the car, and we all left.
I'm hoping they had, like crucifixes on underneath their clothes and a stake in the hand just in case. And yeah.
No. But it was good but yes. So I don't know if it is part of that. If they are
It may be.
part of that.
It may be. There's there are a lot of long-standing rumors, even going back to the late 19th century, about ritualistic cult activity in downtown Springfield. So, and of course, the Jordan Creek was covered, and then the metropolitan spaces were built over that, I believe, in the 1930s. So, lots of time, lots of spaces, lots of stories, and lots of verifiable experiences. We're really not intimating that they're real life vampires within those spaces, but certainly people doing things down there from a hidden and sometimes ritualistic nature.
Right. And that's why I said they identified as vampires. I don't think they had supernatural powers, but they lived in a vampiric lifestyle. That's how.
Well, there you go. See, I learned something new. My other question was, and I saw a blurb on the website, on the Dark Ozarks website, because I went and checked it out, signed up for everything, because I'm like, okay, I'm really curious here. But I saw mentioned the spook light, or, it's known several other. Did you actually see the spook light? And when you investigated that, Josh?
So I have not. The spook light doesn't like me. I've been out there several times. The spook light doesn't like me. Lisa's seen the spook light probably 15 to 20 times. And so, and a lot of people have, and we still don't know what it is. It's an earth light. But in terms of its origin, we don't know. But that whole space is just very interesting.
It is. I grew up outside of Lockwood, Missouri, which is about 45 minutes outside of the Joplin area. So, we would hey, we're not doing anything tonight. Let's go search for the spook lights.
Yes.
And a lot of my friends had seen it. And here's where we're seeing it. And I never saw it. So
yeah. The spook light doesn't like me. But we'll see.
I understand that.
We'll see.
I felt the same way.
We'll see how it goes.
So are you heading there? Are you going to be doing it, or have you already gone there, Josh? Or are you heading back up there anytime soon?
Well, I'll actually be up there Saturday night at Webb City for the Ball House event. And then we've got a number of events coming up on the calendar. We don't go out to Spooklight Road as a public group. Because of the private farms and space. Right. Lisa and I do have a book coming out on the Spooklight and the surrounding area that will be out soon. And then, the Earthlight phenomena is just fascinating, and it's so long standing because people have been seeing this since the 1820s.
Right.
Yeah.
So and we know that it's. We know the 2-year-old. He is a toddler.
He is a toddler.
What we know that spooklight phenomena being observed in the 1820s, it was clearly not refracted light from I-44.
Right. Yeah.
I-44 did not exist.
My dad grew up in Joplin, so he used to tell me all kinds of stories. His family's from Crane and Galena, but when my grandmother and grandfather got married, they moved to Joplin, and so he grew up in Joplin for several years. And as a teenager, and kind of like you, Larry, it was like, we're bored. What are we going to do? We're going to go out to Spooklight Road. So I've heard several stories about that. I've been out there 3 times. And again, I'm kind of like Josh. I think the spook does not like me. However, I will say paranormal activity does like me.
Yeah.
I even in my house. So these toys behind me, they will one of them will be in the hallway. We'll leave home and it'll be where it is, and then we come home and it's standing in the hallway. Things move in my house all the time. So
yeah.
Told you not to bring those possessed dolls into the house.
They're outside. They're hanging up.
Conjuring franchise all the way.
Somebody asked me the other day, they were coming to my house, and they're like, "How will we know it's your house?" I was like, "Oh, you'll know." Like, I have
the hanging baby doll heads. That'll give it away.
It's a statement, and it's true. I'm a dinosaur going through a tree. I'm just like the bones of the dinosaur going through a tree. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
I love Halloween. It's my favorite.
I do too. And but that stretch of land along Spooklight Road and the adjoining county roads, east-west, there on the Missouri-Oklahoma border, a lot of very, very odd activity, and stretching all the way over to across the Spring River, over to Devil's Promenade.
Yeah. Josh, I'll get with you.
Devil's Promenade for a reason there.
It is. There's Taney County has Devil's Tea Table. Have you heard of the Devil's Tea Table, Josh?
I have heard of it. I've not been to it.
It's fun.
We need to fix that.
Yeah. I listen, because I grew up around here, and I have stories from where I grew up. I need to share them with you guys so you guys can go out and investigate that too.
Would love to. The paranormal and the folkloric, to me, is just an incredible open door to help people understand the richness of their region.
Yes, it's amazing. So, guys, we're at over an hour, so I'm going to put some of the brands back up. So, first of all, Josh, State of the Ozarks is an online magazine, and it's just amazing. When he says it's a member, he has artisans and all kinds of people, like the paranormal investigator, like he was talking about, Lisa. They all are, you can join and become a member of State of the Ozarks, and then Josh will help tell your story and help promote you and all kinds of things. Wonderful. Go check it out. StateoftheOzarks.net, right, Josh?
That's right.
.net.
It is .net, yes.
So just be sure you put that in, or just Google State of the Ozarks. It'll pop up. State of the Ozarks Fest, Saturday, September 16th, in historical Downing Street in Hollister, Missouri, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Just an amazing array of all kinds of festival crafts, artisans. You're going to see everything from handmade pottery to paintings to there's an artisan who does fabric painting. She's amazing. And just wonderful things. But also going to have entertainment. You're going to be able to maybe bid on some cosplay and come and join us for our Villain and Hero Walk, which is going to take place at the festival. We'll start at 12:45, but we're going to have a booth so you can come, sign up, register to win an amazing art piece, one-of-a-kind art piece. Any of the little kids who are in costumes are going to get little gift bags with some stickers and some candy, and I haven't figured out what else, but they're going to have some like really fun things. And you can come by, get your picture taken, join the hero and villain walk, like face off against each other. And yes, you'll see a bunch of, like on this, there's a bunch of comic book characters you see there. But if you're into anime or you're into just TV shows or movies that aren't based on comic books, that's okay too. Just put on a costume, come join us, have some fun. Josh said that there are going to be changing rooms available. So if you do, like, if you're in a full Batman costume and it gets hot, there'll be somewhere you can change clothes and still enjoy the festival for the rest of the day. There are refreshments. There's some restaurants that are open there. Josh, there's going to be like anything else for people to enjoy food-wise, or is it?
Food-wise, we're going to, of course, to have our regular great restaurants in Downing Street, which is Hook and Ladder Pizza, the Downing Street Poorhouse, and Little Hacienda In addition to that, we will have Kaliki Hawaiian Barbecue. We will have the Jamaican Grill from downtown Branson. And we will also have beans and buttercream, very, very designer cookies. We'll have Revive Juice Company, as well as Vintage Paris and the Manna Cart coffee espresso cart. So we'll have espresso on both ends of the street. And then big shout out to Smyrna Baptist Church is one of our longtime standing participants, and they provide free bottled water on ice to
that's
everyone.
awesome.
All the vendors, all the attendees.
They walk down the street, and just anybody who wants it, they give it.
Yeah. Yes. So we want people to stay hydrated. We want people to stay cool and safe, and that's a huge thing that they do. And they collect pallets of water for about 3 months prior to the event. So we'll always be able to keep you hydrated, and then lots and lots of great places to eat, great food. Kilwins, ice cream and fudge, and
nice.
Will be there as well. And College of the Ozarks Culinary Club, and they create a special handmade menu for each festival, each of our festivals. And so I'm not sure exactly what, but things that they always have the Keeter Center turn-down cookies, but they've done a pulled pork mac and cheese that is just incredible. They've done some handmade brats with a special slaw that's been phenomenal. I'll find out later. I'll find out on the 24th what the menu is actually going to be.
Nice.
And also big shout out to our Oak Level festival sponsors, which is Victory Chiropractic in Branson, Missouri, as well as City of Hollister. They are both Oak Level sponsors for making the festival happen.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Also not on Downing Street, but right adjacent is Turkey Creek Brewery.
Yes.
And then is Seven Arrows still there?
Yep. It's now Taps. Just go around the corner to, I believe, 260 Birdcage Walk. Formerly Vintage Paris, and Taps will have a full lineup. They'll have food as well as a wide array of beverages, and of course Turkey Creek. Turkey Creek will be on the street, I do believe, as a vendor, but they'll be directing people over to their historic location.
It's right across the street. It's not like a long way. It's literally you walk right across the street. But so kid friendly. But
yes.
Also, if you are there with just a bunch of friends and you're all over 21 and you want to go have a beer in the middle of the day, there are options for you there. The poorhouse is there. You have Cook and Ladder. So you have options for all kinds of food and beverage. So all kinds of fun things going on. And you get entertained and you get to look at all these artisans and get to know them. I have never once been to this festival, and I've been every year. I've never once been to this festival and had someone not talk to me. Like when you go up to a booth and sometimes they get really busy. They might be really busy, but they'll at least say hello. But if you have questions, if you're wow, this is amazing woodwork, how do you do this? These are going to be the times that you're going to be able to ask those questions, and they're going to answer them for you. So
yes.
They're very friendly.
Very interactive. And the thing that I stress with all of our vendors is we're there to have a great time. We're there to just enjoy the day and give the attendees a great experience. And
there you go.
All the positive things that come out of that are icing on top of the cake.
Yes.
That's a wonderful perspective. I agree. So
hopefully we'll see so many friends out there, but hopefully we'll see some new friends. We'll make some new friends.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions about the cosplay, villain and hero walk, or even cosplay in general, you can message me on GeekyKOOL or on the Geeky Girlness, which is my Facebook page. We'll help you. We'll figure it out. I've had 2 people say, I don't have a costume, but I would love to be a part of it. And I said, what size are you? I have a closet full of costumes. So not saying I'm going to give out all my costumes, but I'm willing to bring things and share things and stuff if you want to be a part of it. So just so you guys know, that is an option as well. And They don't have to be amazing costumes. You just have to have fun while you're in them.
Right. And I'm going to take a moment to thank the Geeky Girlness for sponsoring this episode of Professor Nate. So we do appreciate that also. So check out the Geeky Girlness Facebook page.
I bring the Geeky Girlness everywhere.
You do, and we love it.
I'm just saying, I'm OG Geeky Girl, so.
It's true.
I was a Geeky Girl before it was cool. I played D&D with the boys in the 80s. I'm just throwing that out there, guys.
I wish I could have had some girls play with us because,
Yeah, it was really hard. It was really difficult to get into a group. I had to, because they were like, it's a boys thing. And I'm like, it's role play. It's not really.
It was kind of like in Stranger Things where, I forget her name, shows up to play for her brother.
Oh, Erica.
When Erica shows up, I love that. That's one of my favorite scenes in that whole season.
She's like, oh, yeah, okay, this is my character. That was me.
I love that. So
the Geeky Girlness will be there as well. I'm going to have a booth right next to the cosplay booth. So you can see some of the art and stuff like that. And I'm going to have some stickers and everything for the kiddos. And I try to get different price points because I know sometimes parents bring their kids out and they give them $1 or $2 and they don't have a lot of money to spend. So we try to figure things out. And that's the other thing. Price ranges, you can find something in any price range at State of the Ozarks. So
very much so, all the way, and that's what I do encourage our people to do. So it can be an absolutely 100% affordable day, just to come down and enjoy the free event. And if you want to go home with a $1,200 piece of art, you can do that too.
Yep. There you go.
I've seen that happen.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So we always finish off our episodes shouting out to some of our amazing friends who do things that are similar to us. And Josh, I feel like we're going to put State of the Ozarks, if you're okay with it, on this list. Every episode we'll send people your way. But we are going to start off with who we call our distinguished competition. Our DC versus our Marvel, because we are Marvel fans.
We're the Marvels.
And that is going to be... I got to pull up the banner.
Do you want me to do it? You got it. All right, you got it.
Yeah, just pull up the banner. The teamwork makes the dream work.
I know.
The Nerd Informants over on YouTube and Facebook. Tim Church and Josh Grisham. And they're going to bring you all things nerdy. They're going to do movie reviews. They both work in media, so they have all kinds of interviews, and they get to do all kinds of fun things. It's amazing. It's amazing. So go over and check them out. They also have created a page for their fans and also just us nerdy, geeky community called Nerd Informants Beyond. And that is on Facebook. Anyone can add any kind of cool, geeky stuff on there. Just keep it friendly. So if you have something going on, feel free to add it. Josh, it's a great place to even add Dark Ozarks stuff. I'm just, they've got some great things. Yeah.
Very excited about that.
Yeah, right. We have the Ozpod Gals on Facebook. Now they are from OzCon, which is my favorite con of all time. I got married there a year and a half ago, but they are in West Plains, and the Ozpod Gals they're two of the nerdiest girls you're ever going to find, but they're super cute, super funny, and really entertaining. They have been very busy, so they haven't been putting things out as often, but when they do, it's definitely worth a watch, so go give them a like on Facebook. We have, Keith and Gary over at Pop Culture Minefield on YouTube. They have so many shows, it's hard to keep track of. They're syndicated now, so you never know what's going to come out on Pop Culture Minefield, but just a little tidbit. We keep it PG-13. Professor allows me one curse word per episode, which I haven't used.
You have not. Very proud.
I'm so proud of myself. I curse like a sailor.
We get our G rating today. So.
Yes. I curse like a sailor normally. But Keith and Gary is not as censored or filtered as I am. And so just so you know, you might want to put the headphones on if you have little ones around. But it's totally worth a listen because they get the scoop of all kinds of things, and they're so knowledgeable. We have Brittany. Brittany Greer was on a couple weeks ago, and she has a movie coming out. It's going to be premiering in October. It's called Happy Halloween, and she is a local to the area filmmaker, and this looks amazing. So go check out Happy Halloween on Facebook. It's scary, but cheeky, and it just looks amazing. I can't wait to actually see the full movie. I've seen clips, and I've seen like stills, and I've heard about it for years. So be sure you're going to go check that out.
Brittany grew up watching 80s horror movies, so that's what you can expect. We are getting a true 80s horror movie made in the 2020s. So
Exactly. We have here's a new one. Check out Big Dog Inc. Kickstarter. 13 years of Big Dog Inc. is going on.
And the Kickstarter's done. I just had not removed it, but they have Kickstarters going all the time. So check out Big Dog Inc. For the various Kickstarters they have. Their anthology one is now complete. But they were wonderful guests with us. So.
Yeah, and then our partners and my life partner, the Scallywag himself. Scallywag Productions on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. He posts a collectible of the day, so you'll see that back there. And he is on YouTube. He's got years of YouTube videos from the show with Dee and him. We did some shows during COVID and everything, so be sure to go check that out. And then there's State of the Ozarks, of course, at StateoftheOzarks.net. And then there's us.
There is us.
Site, GeekyKOOL.com, where, as my husband says, is the one-stop shop for all things nerd. He does it way better. He has that radio voice. It's wonderful. But you're going to see like trailers, and you're going to see articles and all kinds of things, and not just from me and Larry, but we have contributors all over the country who go out and go to conventions and write stuff for us, give us their opinions. If you would like to be a contributor with GeekyKOOL.com, just let one of us know. We can arrange that. We have contributors ranging from age 14 to, my age older. It's fine. We're not going to get into numbers.
My age is older than yours, so okay.
It's fine. We're just leaving it at
30
plus.
38 plus or minus 15?
But
I don't know.
If you have a geeky voice, we want you to have a platform to express your geeky voice. So,
and you can write for us. You can do videos like this. There's numerous ways that you can contribute. If you just want to post trailers, or if you want to post to social networks, we will enable that to happen. So just let us know. We are happy because we love the more contributors that we have, the more of a voice we've got out there of all of geekdom, all of nerddom. So, and
we don't have a banner for this, but starting last week, we have a new show. GeekyKOOL presents the Next Gen Role Players, and that is a group of kids aged 9 through 14. There's 4 of them, and they are learning to play D&D for the first time, or almost the first time.
Right.
A couple of them.
I bored them to death the first session. So. But we'll get past that. We'll get past that. There.
Every other Friday, we're going to have that, so you can check that out. So it's GeekyKOOL presents the Next Gen Role Players.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. Those kids are awesome, and they're so much fun. They're going to be the next superstars on YouTube.
That's
be
so
like,
cool.
Well, I hope that's true. They'll be like, oh yeah, you're the guy who does the game mastering for them. Yeah, that's me. Okay.
Yeah.
So
their goal, they all were super excited. They're like, hey, if we get good enough and we get a big enough following, will people let us go to cons and talk about D&D? And I'm like, yes, they will.
Yes, they will.
So
maybe OzCon would be a good place to premiere that.
I mean, OzCon's a good place to do everything. So
yeah, I agree. All right, well.
Josh,
thank you again for joining us. We greatly appreciate you coming on. We're super excited about the festival and about what's going on with with both the State of the Ozarks and Dark Ozarks, we are very excited to see what's going on there. Congratulations on all of the growth of Dark Ozarks. That's just amazing.
Yes,
and
maybe we can
I look forward to meeting you in person. So
yeah, we can.
It would be. Yeah, we can. We can have Lisa and Josh come on for Dark Ozarks sometime.
I love that. That would be amazing. Yeah,
I love that too. We can make that happen.
All right. Do a crossover.
Yes, that would be so much fun. Okay, guys.
Crossover episode. I'm excited. All right. So,
cross the streams.
Yeah, unlike Ghostbusters, it's good to cross the streams on this. So. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us once again. For those of you that watched us live, for those of us that watch this tape delayed on both Facebook or YouTube, thank you all for checking us out. Thank you for our awesome guest, Josh. And as I like to say, stay geeky, and we'll see you next time.
Be kind to each other.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys.